You're listening to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast.
I'm Martin Tyler, and you're listening to Harry Symeou.
Hello, good evening and welcome back to another live edition of the Chronicles of a Gooner. It's the fans phone-in show and we are live. Delighted to have you all with us. It's a phone-in show, which means you guys get to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. I've dedicated the whole hour this time solely to you guys. So you're not going to get 15, 20 minutes of me rambling on at the start because I've already done my Newcastle review podcast. So go over and check that out if you haven't already. It's available on all major podcast stores as always. And of course, you can find it right here on this YouTube channel. We're going to be discussing a variety of subjects. The conversation tonight is going to be dictated by you guys. But some of the subjects that have come to my mind that I'm sure we're going to touch on are: what do you do with a problem like Willian? Will Nicolas Pepe ever succeed at Arsenal? Was the fact that Mikel Arteta have to turn to the youngsters, again, a bit of a turning point for him? Will that teach him a lesson? Will he stop persisting with some of these players who are just not performing at the right level? We're going to be discussing all of that during tonight's show, and our callers are lining up in the StreamYard back end of the studio bit. So I'll be bringing some of you guys on in just a second. I just want to do a quick little bit of housekeeping. As some of you will have seen, the Chronicles of a Gooner memberships are now live. If you click the link in the description, you'll get more information on that. And if you wish to do so, you can join as a Chronicles of a Gooner member. There are perks that you'll receive by being a member, and there are 3 different tiers. So you can decide which one works best for you. But I want to stress the point. We're not going to be doing any less free content. We're just going to be doing more content. So that's the plan. We're going to be bringing you more content. There's going to be members only streams, which you guys will have the opportunity to get involved in. There's lots to come on the channel. I've got more time now. So I'm looking forward to really ramping this up. And if you can support in any way, shape or form, even if that's just watching the videos, clicking the like button, I'm grateful for all of it. So I promise it's not going to make a difference to the level of output that you're getting now as a free user. You're still going to get this content, but we're going to be doing extra. Truly overwhelmed by the number of people that have signed up in the last 24 hours. It's been incredible, and I can't thank you guys enough. And in the interim between me setting this video up and then us actually going live, we've had another couple of members join. So I want to say a big thank you to Ewan Young for joining. Thank you so much, mate. Really, really appreciate it. And to Harry Atkinson, who's just signed up as well. You'll notice those guys in the chat because they've got little icons next to their names. So thank you guys. Right. Let's dive into it. Let's dive into it, and I'm going to bring on our first guest this evening, and I'm sure many of you guys will recognise him from the world of Arsenal YouTube. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Colin, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, Harry. How about yourself?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough watch, wasn't it? Fucking
Oh, God. It really was, mate. It really was. It really was.
I don't know what frustrated me more, the fact that Willian was so wasteful in that first half, or the whole team in general was wasteful. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean,
what's your take on... Sorry, 1 second, Colin, before I carry on. Let me just... If you have put your name down to join in on tonight's show, and I haven't sent you a link yet, it is coming. I'm sending them out bit by bit so that you don't end up sitting in the back end of the program watching for too long and wasting your battery and wasting your time. So if you've asked for a link, you will get one, I promise, but you may not have got it yet. So just to let you guys know, go on, carry on, Colin. What's your take on this whole Willian question? Because he's not been great since he joined Arsenal. I think we can all agree on that. But last night felt like a bit of a last straw for many.
Mate, let's just be honest. Willian's been a flop. He's been a flop. Simple as. Outside of one game against Fulham, what has he actually done?
Agreed.
Can you tell me?
I mean, I thought he was okay, Colin, in the game at Old Trafford, but just okay, nothing more than that.
Exactly. There you go. That's the problem there. Just okay, like good enough to get by, basically. Like that's just, I don't know. Like I've had this opinion for a while, right? That I truly believe this as well. The Willian signing, I think, was a last present or a last bad luck present from Raul Sanllehi. And the reason I think that is because, well, there's a couple of factors in that, right? Raul is best mates with Willian's agent.
Yep.
Now, that screams dodgy. Just,
I mean,
flat
Colin,
out dodgy.
There were a lot of transfers, aren't there, that Raul was involved in that we're now looking back on and thinking, something a little bit fishy about that. So it wouldn't be a surprise, would it?
None of them made sense. Not just the Willian thing. We gave Cedric a 3-4 year deal, and he hadn't played a single game.
Yeah, like, I don't disagree.
What sense does that make? Like, I have a huge problem with Kia anyway, because you know as well as I do, Harry, that wherever his clients end up, that club suffers as a result. Case in point, Inter Milan. Yep. They've been trying to get rid of João Mario for years.
João Mario, that is a name out of the top drawer there.
No, it's true though, isn't it? Like, Kia got Stefano Poli sacked when he was manager at Inter Milan because he had the balls not to play João Mario.
Yep. And
I can see similar happening to Mikel Arteta if Kia has influence in this football club. And he does, because it's not just one Kia client. One's bad enough, right? One's bad enough. But we've got 4 Kia clients at the club.
So are you saying, Colin, are you suggesting that Mikel Arteta wasn't necessarily on board with the signing of Willian?
Yeah. I don't think he was. I think he had to put on a brave face for the media because, let's be honest, like no manager ever tells the 100% truth in a press conference. It's all pushing out agendas, this and that, right? Now, Arteta would have had to put on a brave face, right? Because the last thing you want at a football club is for the media to run a story like, oh, things aren't going well at Arsenal now. Like, that's... I don't know, but having one Kia client at your club is bad enough. Having 4? Nah. Probably. Nah. Like, you've got Cedric, Kia client, David Luiz, Kia client, Willian, Kia client, and arguably the most important one of the lot, people forget this, Edu is a Kia client as well. When your director of football has an agent like Kia Jarabshin, that spells doom for everybody involved. You can't have an agent dictating what's going on at a football club. You can't, because then you're in the shit.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a worrying situation. The hope is, though, and as I said right at the top of the program, and I said it on the review show following the Newcastle game, is that I feel as though maybe, what happened last night, the fact that Mikel Arteta, and I know it was an FA Cup game, and I know he rested a number of players, and he would probably argue that the guys that played yesterday, the majority were his second string now. The fact that he had to turn to those youngsters again, I feel like that might be a bit of a turning point for Mikel now. It might be maybe the final push that he needs to just abandon trusting in some of those more senior players, if you like, the likes of Willian. Pepe is more senior than Smith Rowe, than Martinelli, than Saka. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's finally got the message. Would you agree with that before I move on?
Yeah, I would agree with that. What frustrates me about Pepe is it's not his goal output that annoys me. It's it's how he tries to take on players. Like yesterday, right? He was. I can't remember if it was the first or the second half, right? But he was in on goal, right? And instead of just having a shot, he does some little trickery to try and get past, the defender, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just having a shot at goal, and I'm just sitting there thinking, what are you doing? What are you even doing? Like, he does this all the time. Let's just put this into perspective. Saka, who is an academy kid and is doing what Pepe was bought for, and he's outperforming him. He's outperforming him. You look at the difference between Saka on the right and Pepe on the right. There's a massive difference in that. Massive difference, because Saka is trying to get past people, trying to contribute to the team, putting crosses in and whatnot. All Pepe does is get the ball, tries a little bit of trickery, and then loses the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was bad in the first half, because out of the whole lot of them, he was the only one I could see trying to create something. But still, he's not been good enough.
No, that's right.
I don't know what the issue is, because ultimately we've still got fees to pay on him, because it's not completely done yet. Willian's different because he didn't cost us a transfer fee.
Yeah, certainly a smaller risk, wasn't it, with Willian? Colin, I'm going to have to leave it there, mate, just because I've got lots of people waiting. But thank you so much for coming on, as always. Really, really appreciate your input. So thank you so much, mate. Cheers.
If you want to call it input, that's good with me then.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
No worries, mate. Cheers.
That was the brilliant Colin. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Harry, how you doing, mate?
Hey, buddy. Happy New Year. How you doing?
Happy New Year to you too, mate. And just quickly, just before I continue, I just want to welcome a couple new members who have just signed up right now in the live chat. Big thank you to, I've lost it. The chat is so busy. To Rahil, thank you so much, mate, for coming on and becoming a member. Really, really appreciate it. And of course, to Pratyush as well. If you want to become a member, the link is in the description. If you click on that link, it will tell you what it's all about, and you can decide if that's something you'd be interested in. Thank you to everyone in the live chat as well for your input. And in answer to some of the questions in there, we will be taking questions from the live chat a bit later on in the show. So keep them coming. Big hello, special hello to my good friend Graham Brooks. Graham, it's been ages since we've spoken Arsenal, mate. So I hope you're doing well, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon. He says a corner was turned last night. No longer in the Premier League setup. Arteta shoehorned him in at number 10, talking about Willian, a position where he never played at Chelsea, which added to the lunacy of ever signing him. He says Willian isn't hungry, just wants to see out his playing career at the top level, playing in London. Harry, let's begin with your thoughts on Willian, because it's been no secret that the Arsenal fan base has been somewhat underwhelmed by what they've seen from Willian since he joined the football club. But it feels like last night was an opportunity for him, another opportunity for him to silence some of those doubters, and he certainly didn't take it, did he?
No, he didn't. I mean, last night was an opportunity for a lot of players to step forward and make something of it. With regards to Willian, he just doesn't look hungry enough, and he looks like he lacks a lot of confidence, and his body language and facial expressions. He just looks like he's not enjoying it for whatever reason. And Arteta just has to hold his hands up and say it's not working. The only thing giving Willian more chances is that Arteta knows what he could do or knows what he can do, but he's yet to show it. Disregard Fulham at first game of the season. So I think a signing that should have motivated young players and motivated players like Pepe has instead probably sent Pepe backwards. I think Pepe's demotivated because of Willian's arrival. Pepe gave a really good performance in the FA Cup final, probably showed to Arteta that he's buying into his philosophy. And then I think he gets dropped for the start of this season, And then he plays against Leeds, frustrated, gets sent off because he's angry. He's not getting the ball. He's not playing well. So the Willian signing has not only worked out for Willian, but it's also affected other areas. So if we could cut our losses and sell him now, but I get the sense that no one's going to want to buy him out of his contract.
You make a really interesting point there, Harry. The point about that signing demotivating Pepe is a really good one and a really valid one, I think, because you look at some of the games that Willian's played, And you would argue that, or a lot of people would argue, I would certainly argue, that actually Nicolas Pepe may be further down the development line had he been given those opportunities. Maybe his confidence would be a little bit higher. Maybe he'd be playing a bit more of a swagger if he was the guy being selected and given a run of games. And you're right. When we brought Willian in, my view was very much, this is a decent signing. And I said it at the time. I'm not going to backtrack now and pretend I didn't.
Yeah, I said it as well, mate. I said it as well. I was really happy with the signing. Sorry to interrupt. I thought it was a really good signing. I thought he'd take us to not to another level, but just make us a bit more experienced and solid, similar to when we signed Czech. But sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But separate the investment in terms of the weekly wage, because we know that's because there's no transfer fee and there's all these other things. Try to separate the age issue, because you don't suddenly become a good player at 31 and a bad player at 32. Try to separate the length of contracts, because the truth is, if we signed him for 2 years and he had a banging first season, this time in the summer, we'll be panicking that we can't re-sign him. So I understand the 3-year deal. Even though it doesn't make sense, I understand it. Forget all of that. Just judge it on games. He's just not been good enough. And Pepe being demotivated probably says a little bit about Pepe as well, in terms of his personality, his desire. Does Pepe want it enough? Does he try enough? I see him smiling sometimes when he makes a mistake or a bad choice. It's like, and then take someone like Saka, who struggled playing right wing early on. When he had his back to play, his body shape was a bit off. When he was receiving the ball on his right foot, he was easily dispossessed from left backs, and he's grown into that position. And now you've got Saka, who is fundamentally a left winger, now, playing ahead of Pepe, ahead of Willian. And that shows you how poor they've been, but also how good Saka's been.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Just finally, before I move on, Harry, and I apologise, it's just because I've got lots of people lined up tonight.
You're a popular man, that's why.
Well, at least I am for tonight anyway. But it's great. No, great to have you all. And honestly, the more people, the better. And I'll do my best to get through as many as we possibly can within the allotted time. Do you feel like Arsenal have gone through a little bit of a revival since some of the youngsters were brought into the side? And are you now, as a result of that, a lot more optimistic about what the rest of the season will bring?
Yeah, mate, totally. I think if anyone wasn't questioning Arteta or questioning where we were going, then fair play to you, hats off. I certainly had enough of watching us lose. Not to say I wanted Arteta out, but it became just really demoralising. But that Man City Carabao Cup game, even though the scoreline was convincing, I thought we showed elements of a good performance, and I thought we showed a bit more hunger, and that gave us a small springboard for Chelsea. So I'm optimistic about the season. I think we can push top 4, but Arteta just needs to separate the good from the bad. Stop giving chances to players who don't necessarily deserve it, just because they're Hale boys, just because they scored loads of goals under 23 level, or they had a good 6 months on loan randomly. Just don't keep persisting with those players. And Willock, Nelson, and Nketiah, you've got to be really, really, really careful where you use them. Because listen, if Andy Carroll scores that goal yesterday, we're out the FA Cup. If Leno is man of the match, in my opinion, because of that save. If we don't go through tomorrow, then we're really questioning those performances of the youngsters. So I think we'll be fine this year as long as we play the players that deserve to play. Yeah.
Totally agree. Harry, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure we'll speak again very soon.
Take care, buddy. Happy New Year, everyone.
Cheers, mate. You too. That was the brilliant Harry. Just before we come to our next caller, big thank you to Jid F32, who's just become a new member to the channel. Thank you so much for your support, mate. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Rahil, where are you joining us from, mate? I know, but tell the listeners.
From Luxembourg. Yes, I know, Harry. I tested your flag knowledge the other day, and you were brilliant.
You did. How you doing, mate? First of all,
it's good. A good start to the year in terms of Arsenal. So, I mean, we have 4 wins in a row, so much better than a few weeks ago, where it looked like we were going to be hanging in the relegation zone. So, yeah, much better, Harry.
Good stuff. Just a quick reminder as well, if you are waiting for the link to come through so that you can join the show, then bear with me. I am going to send it to you at some point within the show. The reason I don't send them all out at once is because you're going to end up in the backstage bit, and basically I can only have a certain amount of people in there without losing people and people falling off of the program. So that's why I do it that way. So I send out 3 at a time. So if you haven't got it yet, but you've put your name down, I will get it to you between now and the end of the show. Rahil, where do you stand on the whole Willian debate? Kevin Campbell, former Arsenal man, is watching us at the moment. He says, "Hi, H. If Willian demotivates Pepe, then Pepe is not built for the Arsenal." So just responding to what Harry was saying about that point, which I thought was a really good point, actually. And Harry made that point as well, didn't he? He did say that it says a lot about Pepe as well. But going back to Willian for a minute, where are you on the whole Willian thing? Do you think Arsenal made a really bad mistake here?
Well, like you, Harry, I think I came on one of the following shows and I said that it was a good signing, given that we had a lot of youngsters and we needed someone experienced who's done it before in the Premier League. So initially, and I'm also not going to go back on that because I did think it was a decent signing. Nothing that will get you off your seats, but it was someone to come in and strengthen the squad. But unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. And I think someone made a comment earlier, and he was spot on. It just seems like he has no motivation to play anymore. He's won almost everything he can with Chelsea, and now he's just living the good life in London, getting a good paycheck and living a comfortable life at Arsenal, and he's getting chances, so he plays quite regularly. But he's not been performing, and the fact that Arteta played him in the FA Cup is a bit reassuring for fans. That means that he will be on the fringes and he will be playing as in the second team, if you want to call it, because there are much better players all over the pitch that he can play in those positions. Emile Smith-Rowe is better than him at the moment. Saka is better than him. On the left, we have Martinelli, who unfortunately got injured, which I was really gutted for, and Aubameyang. So he has absolutely nowhere to play. And another point on Pepe, as Harry mentioned, that it kind of shows like Willian coming in is demotivating him. That's on the one side. And then the other side, Saka is playing so well that it is making Pepe look ordinary. So you've got one player that's kind of demotivating him and another player that's just showing him up, is much younger than him, much more confident. And Pepe has more talent than Saka, let's be real. Like, he's technically a better player. Yeah, I think he can. If he applies his talent properly, he can be a wonderful, even, what the thing with Pepe, right, is every game he will create chances. He'll have shots on goal. I think yesterday he had 5 shots. So he does take shots. He's not afraid to take shots. And he could have easily had an assist if there was a better finisher than Willock. So in a game, he always has moments where he creates something or he has a go. The issue with him is because he does it very rarely and there's a lot of inconsistencies and he loses the ball lots of times. It's easier to pick out Pepe. But every time, even when he was playing in the Europa League, he always scored a goal or two. He had an assist here and there. It's because of the 72 million price tag that's weighing so heavy on Pepe right now. That if we had a good team, right, we had all the parts, defense, midfield, and attack working properly, I think Pepe would be a really good player. But the fact that we don't and we have to rely on him, that's where the issue is, because of his price tag. We're putting so much expectation on this player, and he's not delivering because of the price tag. I think if he went to another club where it was working and where we didn't have as many issues as we do at Arsenal, I think he would be a good player. So Pepe, unfortunately, it doesn't look good for him, and also Arteta hasn't helped his case. Because I do feel a bit sorry for him. He came in the team, like I think Harry mentioned it also. He was in the FA Cup final, played really well. Yeah. And then Willian came in, and he hasn't had a consistent run of games. So I think the maximum he's played is 1 game, and then the next one will be subbed or someone else comes in. So he hasn't set the world on fire, but I don't think he's as bad as people make it out to seem to be.
I agree. I agree with that. I think that, and sometimes as well, players and clubs and managers just don't fit. And that could really be the case of what's going on here. You've also got to take into consideration that Nicolas Pepe isn't Mikel Arteta's signing.
Exactly.
Mikel Arteta shouldn't be forced to play him because of what the previous regime invested in him. I agree with that. You know, we've trusted Mikel Arteta to try and turn this club around, to try and steady the ship, to get us back to where we need to be. But in order for him to do that, he's got to make his own decisions. And as a football club, as a manager, he's under no obligation to play Nicolas Pepe just because what the previous guy spent. Raheel, I'm going to have to leave it there, mate, just because, as you can see at the bottom, it's
No worries.
thank you so much for coming on, though,
Thanks,
mate. And
Harry.
thank you for signing up as a member as well. Really appreciate it.
Sure, I keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, mate. I'm sure we'll speak soon.
Yeah.
Cheers. That was the brilliant Raheel. Let's move on to our next caller. In the meantime, though, quickly smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You know the drill by now. I say it every video. So get on with it. Hit the like button. It's free. Doesn't cost a penny. Welcome to the show, Pratyush. Where are you joining us from, mate?
Hi, Harry. I'm joining from New Delhi, India.
Brilliant. What time is it there? Is it late? Is it early?
It's almost 3 a.m. I'm off work tomorrow, so I thought I would stay up till late today.
Wow. Thank you, mate. Yeah. Really appreciate you coming on and joining us. What do you want to say on either the topics discussed, or if you got something else you want to raise? The forum is yours, my friend.
Just wanted to start off with Willian. I get that he isn't an Arteta signing, and I mean, he's not probably the type of player Arteta would want. But I meant Pepe. But the thing is, with Willian, there's clear favoritism there. So whenever Pepe has messed up, he's clearly had, Arteta has gone all guns blazing. And with Willian, I mean, even in the last match, I was seeing Arteta making clear excuses for him with fitness issues, and he's just been ill, which I get, which can be a clear issue, because there were times where Willian looked really off the pace, where, I think the one good quality that Willian has is bringing out the ball from the back to the front. I mean, I don't think he has a lot of end product, but he just seemed to be overrun by defenders. The defenders were putting tackles in, he was getting fouled, and he just didn't seem to progress the ball at all. So it might be an issue with fitness, but till now I haven't seen anything from Willian except the Fulham match to give any good signs for moving forward.
Doesn't that make it all the more frustrating, though? Because when you think back to that match against Fulham, he was sensational. I came away from that match thinking, yeah, do you know what? He ain't going to play every week, Willian, but we've really brought someone in here who can produce, who can provide such good backup to that young forward line that we like to see come through, and, link up with Aubameyang, link up with Lacazette. I thought he was brilliant that day, and I was really excited. And all of a sudden, the performance is just completely dropped off. Now, I think you also have to take into consideration that the team have gone through some really difficult periods as a whole. But then when somebody like Bukayo Saka takes up that position, or Emile Smith-Rowe takes up that position and does it so easily and so well, then understandably, people are going to start to ask questions of the experienced Willian, who's been there, done it, should be leading by example. I mean, are you confident now that with the more regular sort of use of some of these young players, the Smith-Rowes, Saka now not playing as a left wing back or anything like that, just playing as part of a front three, are you confident that Arsenal can turn their season around and start to close the gap on the top four?
Harry, what we need to realize is that Bukayo Saka is 19 years old and Emile Smith-Rowe is 20. So they are going to have a patch of form where they're not in form. And the thing would have noticed with Arsenal fans is we turn on our players so easily. And I mean, yesterday I was looking through Twitter. I think Twitter is so wild towards our players at times. And the comments for Joe Willock, I mean, Joe Willock is our academy product. He's an Haaland boy. And I think we need to give him more time. The wild towards Eddie and Nketiah. And I just worry that if ESR or Saka goes through a piece of bad form, and they might be targeted by fans, and that's not going to turn well for us. I genuinely think we need a good cam this transfer window. We cannot depend on ESR to get us top 6 this time. We are not getting top 4 definitely. That's very, very distant.
So where do you see Arsenal finishing then, assuming there are no significant additions in January? Where do you think Arsenal finish this season?
If we manage to get a cam, I think we can finish 6th or 7th. If not, I don't see us finishing higher than 8th. I think we'll reach the levels we reached last season. We finished 8th. I don't think we will finish higher than that.
Cool. Good stuff. Pratyush, thank you so much, mate. I'm just going to have to move on just because I've got lots of people waiting. But I think it's your first time on, right?
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it. And welcome to the channel, mate.
Cheers.
Thank
you.
That was Pratyush joining us from New Delhi. It's 3 o'clock in the morning over there. He should be in bed. What's going on? If you caught me just glancing to my right, it's because I've got the Juventus Sassuolo game on the TV next to me. Aaron Ramsey has just scored what looks like it's going to be the winner for Juventus. Oh, what we would do to have Aaron Ramsey back now in that attacking midfield position. Let's move on to our next caller. Welcome to Big Gunner. Where are you joining us from, mate?
I'm calling from Buckinghamshire, but I'm actually from Tottenham.
Down the road. You shouldn't say that word on here, though, yeah? No, I'm joking. Welcome to the program, mate. First of all, how are you?
Oh, I'm living the dream right now. My home is my gym. It's my restaurant. It's everything. Like, so I have to leave the house. Everything's here.
What more do you want? What more do you want, mate? What do you want to say on the Arsenal?
Yeah, no, it's frustrating. Like, I don't know how you feel, but I just feel a bit frustrated. I know people keep bringing up Pepe and Willian and stuff like that. I've always been Arteta in. I'm going to be Arteta in for a while until I feel like he is making terrible decisions. I don't think Willian was a bad signing. I think giving him 3 years was terrible. Considering what we've done with people like Ozil and players like that, where we've given them long contracts, it's hard to motivate them because they know that they're here for 3 years.
Yeah.
We're not really challenging for trophies as such. You know, we've got the FA Cup. We keep going for the FA Cup, but we're not challenging for the league. So it feels like some of these players are actually on holiday. As much as I want Pepe to succeed, I don't think he will. And the only reason why I don't think he will is because I don't think he has the drive to be a top player. Like, he's got the talent to be a top player, but he doesn't have the drive. If you look at the top sort of wingers in the world, they always want the ball. They're always willing to drive forward. He just sometimes doesn't look interested. And I think he was so comfortable in France that he's come over here and it's a different ball game. Like, playing in the Premiership, I don't care who you are. Chelsea have got it now where they've signed 7 players and 4 of them don't look like they've ever played football before. So we know that coming to the Premiership is like, it's just a hard thing to do. And I don't know, you want Emile Smith-Rowe to play, you want Saka to play, but like the guy said before, we can't rely on 19-year-olds because, one, they're going to burn out. You know, Martinelli was massive for us in the last 3 or 4 games. Now he looks like he's out. We should be able to call on Willian and Pepe, but
it's almost like it should be the other way around.
Yeah,
Ewan makes the comment, and I have to bring this up. He does say we won, lads, and we did win. We did get the job done. It's just, what I struggled to get my head around, and why I say this could be a bit of a turning point, is because you would have thought that the youngsters would have played yesterday. Yeah. And we'd have had to call upon some of those senior, more experienced players to get us over the line in a game in which we were struggling. But actually, it's the complete reverse of that. The senior players are not doing the business. The senior players don't look as interested. They don't look as motivated. And we're having to turn to, Emile Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka to get us out of a hole. Just quickly, mate, before I come back to you, Rory Jennings in the chat, big Chelsea fan. Check out his YouTube channel as well. It's really, really good. So go over to Rory's channel. He says, to solve the Willian problem is easy, mate. You need to find a really gullible and desperate London club and somehow convince them to pay him 300 bags a week. Go ahead, mate. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect comment. Players just see us coming and they're like, "Well, they're going to give me ridiculous wages." And I don't know. I think Arteta is trying to change the sort of the passion and get back to when we were winning things, but it's hard because while you've got Deadwood there, you've just got to get rid of him, and he's got to be ruthless. I don't agree with everything he's done, especially like Guendouzi. I know he's probably not behind cameras. He's probably not like how a model professional should be, but I think sometimes you just got to just see what they're doing on the pitch. And again, he's another young player that we was relying on last season, which for me, we shouldn't be relying on these guys.
Yeah.
We should be looking to the big guys. And then, they should be helping the young guys come through. But it's like the young guys are pulling the seasoned professionals through, which I don't have a problem with. But at the same time, we're not going to win the league or get top 4 if that's what we're doing at the moment. And I do hope we do get a couple of players in. But at the same time, players don't automatically mean you're going to improve. So
exactly,
I like to see us work on really what we've got there at the moment. Ship out the guys you don't want to play, because we're notorious for keeping hold of guys for 5-6 years. You got like Macy and people like that, all 26, and they're never going to play for the first team. Even Martinez last season, we've had him for 10 years before he's got like five games in a row. So just get rid of the deadwood and work on what you've got there, and then add only if it's going to make your team better. And I mean, I'm happy with what we're doing at the moment. We're just picking up wins, and that's all I can ask for, to be honest. Just keep picking up wins.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, thank you so much for coming on. I just got to move it on. Just conscious of time, but thank you so much, and I hope to speak to you again soon.
Definitely, mate. Have a good evening.
Cheers, bro. You too, mate. Thank you.
Bye.
That was Big Gunner. Let's move on to our next caller, Shings. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Harry. How are you, mate? How's the family?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Everyone's all right. Everyone's cool. We're just bored. Bored.
I know. Tell me about it, mate. Well, at least
nowhere to go.
At least they've not cancelled the football, because only thing keeping us sane, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been a struggle for me in more ways than one. My job revolves around football.
Yeah, definitely.
And mate, I don't know what I would do at home without no football. It's kind of what happens when there's football and I get a break from the missus, from the kid, and I go down to the man cave and stick the football on. So,
yeah, don't we all, mate? Don't we all?
Exactly. What do you want to say on the Arsenal, mate?
Well, I just want to say it's been nice this past couple of weeks wins, because before that, with everything going on as well, I was an Arsenal fan. It was terrible. The run of form around the negativity, how it is with our fan base. It was just horrible. So it was just nice to get a win, especially the Chelsea win. That just lifted. I think that lifted everything. I think that week, beating Chelsea and beating Brighton, some will say that probably saved Mikel's job.
Yep.
In many ways, the game of the day, like you said, it like you said about it should have been the other way around. We should not. It should have been starting with Saka and Smith-Rowe, instead of them being our go-to guys when things were, tough. And the Willian thing, I don't even want to. Oh gosh. Willian. I don't know what to say, Harry. It's just.
Do you have any small bit of hope inside you that he can turn it around?
I'm sorry, Harry. I can't. I feel like he's had enough chances, but however, though, this is the game that you'd want him in. Newcastle FA Cup, I don't want to see him against Palace. We've got Palace, Newcastle, I think, and then we've got Man U at the end of the month. I'd rather play him in these games. Do you know what I mean? Because I just think we're a much better balanced side without him in. And I think he, like Aquila was saying, I don't think he really cares. I think he's just looking to have the end of his career at the top level in London.
Yeah,
well,
it feels that way. It certainly feels.
And also as well, like this whole Kia Giraffe thing as well. It's a bit frustrating, because it feels like these people, they don't really care about the club, do they? They're just there to basically sort their own pockets out or whatever. But I don't care. I want people involved with Arsenal who want us to do well. I'm not saying they don't want to do well. I'm just saying, I just think like some of the decisions, it's not like for the good of the club. I don't think anyone can say that. It's good. It's for good of the club. I don't know. What do you think about Willian? Do you have any hope or what?
So I've got a tiny little bit of hope that he can at some point contribute something. And the only reason I say that, we're talking about a player who's played 247 times in the Premier League. By the way, I didn't know this off by heart. I'm not that sad. I just looked it up. 247 appearances in the Premier League, 37 goals, 42 assists. So we're talking about someone who's got a history of providing, of scoring in the Premier League. And, unlike some of the younger players who, when they don't perform, you don't have any previous, they don't have any credit in the bank that you can look back on and try to use that as a justification as to why they may get back on track. With Willian, you do have that. You have a player who succeeded in the Premier League over the years. Yes, he's coming towards the twilight of his career. I think we can all agree with that. But for me, we brought Willian in on a free transfer. If Willian can make some kind of contribution that helps us achieve our goals, i.e., gets us through a round in the Europa League with a goal, gets us to a final, then you can kind of justify that signing. And I still have a bit of hope that the quality is there somewhere. It's not showing.
I think as well, one place like where it can help us is, like you said, like in the Europa League or one we've got Bloods coming up, is not too bad from set pieces. His corners are actually not too bad. So, you know what I mean? Just like, do you know what I mean? Like things like that where it could help us. But like, I just don't want to see him starting. I really don't. Yeah. And I think, was it Colin who made the point about maybe because after it was the first caller, after the FA Cup final where he played well, first game he was benched. Maybe the Willian signing has made Pepe's, confidence go down a bit. Yeah, man. I just think when he's up on Pepe a little bit. Yes, I understand the price tag and everything, but
that's not his fault, though, is it?
No, yeah, it's not his fault, and also with Mikel, like you said, Mikel, he's not his player, is he? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just don't think we should just start with Pepe this, Pepe that. Let's just ease off him a bit. But in a way, though, the way that Saka's been playing from that right side, if I was Pepe, I'd be like, right, yeah. Because he's just unreal. I think he's been, especially that game against West Brom on that side, he was just unreal.
Yeah, he really was. He really was. Mate, thank you so much. I'm going to have to move it on just so I can get through everybody before we...
No worries, Harry.
Thanks again for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Harry. Cheers, mate. Nice
Cheers,
one.
pal. Another brilliant caller. Let's move on to the next caller. Thomas, welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner, mate. Thank you for waiting patiently. How you doing?
It's great to be a Gooner again, my friend. It's fantastic, yeah? Happy New Year, yeah?
Happy New Year, man. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I have a couple of things I want to talk about, right? We're talking about Willian and Pep, right?
Yep.
And I think I think we as Arsenal fans are the only fans in the world, right, that doesn't support our big signings. As we have expectations for our big signings, but we don't support our big signings, right? Look at the way Pep came as the Arsenal's biggest signing. I think he was promised that he's going to play every game, because Napoli was after him, Bayern München was after him. I think he was promised that he will play every game and we will build a team around him and everything, right?
Yep.
For 72 million, yeah. And it started bad. He started on the bench and so on. He didn't have a preseason, Unai Emery said, and all this stuff, yeah. But I have some stats here. Like Pepe, he had shots created action, right, last season. And that's like 2 offensive actions leading to a shot. Pepe had 84 that led to a shot on the goal, right, on goal. Arsenal had 836 altogether, and he only played 2,015 minutes last season. So, and he's not starting every game. Now, if we look at Willian has played 909 minutes for Arsenal this season.
Yep.
Yeah. The only reason Willian hasn't played more is that he got COVID and he was out for 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
So the thing that I'm wondering is, okay, look at Pepe's return now. He has 5 goals and 3 assists this season, 3 in the European League, and he has 2 goals in Premier League, right?
Yep.
What does he need to do to buy a game? Like, I'm asking you now, Harry, what does Pep need to do to buy like 4 or 5 games in a row?
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. And I've defended Pepe time and time again about the fact that it must be so difficult to play your way back into form when you're not playing regularly. I've said that time and time again. And, you know, if you cast your mind back to maybe a month, 2 months ago, we had constant Europa League games, didn't we? Sort of every week. And it gave him a chance to build up some rhythm. And there were signs in the Europa that maybe, you know, Pepe was getting back to something like the confident Pepe we thought we'd signed. But you're right. And what Pepe will find really frustrating is the fact that, as you've said, Willian, who isn't performing, still gets selected ahead of him.
He has 3 assists, Harry. He has 3 assists. That's all he has. He has 2 assists in the first game. Take a look at if you take a look at 10 games in a row, 3 assists as a contribution. Look at and one more thing. If Willock were to head that fantastic pass from Pep yesterday, in goal, we would have a different discussion about Pepe today, right? We would praise Pepe, So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that he creates a whole lot of chances, or he's second last on the ball, or he dribbles somebody, gives the ball away, right, and passes to a teammate, right? But they don't do anything about the pass. They don't create anything. So I'm just saying that 3 coaches he's been playing with. Socrates, Matthew Niles, Bellerin, Chambers, Mustafi. That was last season, right? He hasn't gotten the chance to build a partnership, and I feel sorry for Nicolas Pepe in a way, Harry. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree, mate. Just finally, Thomas, just because as you can see, mate, there's loads of people waiting to get on, and we're a little bit pushed for time. But are you optimistic about what you've seen from the young crop in recent weeks? Do you feel like Arsenal are back on the right path at least?
Yeah, of course, we're winning, man. My family, there's love in the air in my house nowadays. My friend, my children are not scared anymore, you know. And so I think we're on the right path, but we need a number 10. We have to buy a number, or borrow or loan a number 10. We need to buy that Brandt's guy from Dortmund. We need to, because we have. What if something happens to Smith Rowe?
Yeah, or he's a youngster, isn't he? He's a youngster. You don't want to rely on him too much.
He needs some competition.
Yeah,
competition makes everybody better. So I think that I think we can reach top 4. I really do. If we get the number 10, I really do. Why not? Everybody's losing to everybody nowadays. Right?
It's not impossible. It's not mathematically impossible at all. Thomas, thank you so much, mate. And I hope to speak to you again soon, pal. All the best.
Smash that like button, people.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, mate. Thanks. Cheers. Okay. Cheers, pal. Brilliant stuff. Just before we move on to our next caller, don't forget, smash the like button. As Thomas says, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you are interested in becoming a member of the channel, which gives you a number of perks, including priority on these types of shows on some of the tiers of the membership, then please click the link in the description. Check it out. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Albert, how you doing, mate?
Yes, what's happening, Harry? Not too bad, mate. How are you?
Good. Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Always feel better when Arsenal win. You know, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't great to watch. It delayed me in my dinner on a Saturday night, which wasn't great, but we got there in the end, mate. What's your take on basically some of the topics we've discussed, and anything else you want to add, mate? Feel free. The forum's yours.
You're right about the winning feeling, because I forgot what it felt like, because we hadn't won for about 2 months. So last time was Man United before the last 4 games, but even going into yesterday's game, Harry, I'll be honest, right? I wasn't looking forward to it, because if you've watched Newcastle play this season, or maybe even in the last couple of years, and the way Steve Bruce sets them up, I knew the game was exactly how I thought it was going to be yesterday. And there's going to be defensive, resolute, potentially hit us on the counter attack, but they're devoid of quality. And I actually went for Arsenal 2-0, and probably not in the way that the game ended up in, but the midfield's still a concern for me, mate, in the centre of the park, because what I would say about the lineup yesterday, Harry, I don't know if you agree or not, but I felt with the selection the personnel he made in terms of the team selection, I thought he sort of gave some of the players enough rope to hang themselves, in the sense that they've been given an opportunity to play. Yes, Nelson started because of obviously what happened to Martinelli in the warm-up, but the likes of Willian and Pepe, for example, and you're thinking to yourself, I take into consideration Pepe is not had a run of 5 games, which is crazy in any team, to be honest. If you're the record signing, but some of these players just cannot deliver, man. Like whether you're playing the top end, mid-table, bottom half of the Premier League, they just don't. Willian, not surprised what I saw again yesterday. Pepe, I don't know what your thoughts are of him, like, because obviously I think some people are kind of done with him, even quite a while ago, to be honest. But I'm just scratching my head with him, man. Like when you're supposed to shoot, pull the trigger, mate. You know, you're selling guys for dreams left, right, and centre, but he's footballing brain, mate. It's just I don't know where he's at when he plays, mate.
For me, it's not even really the football brain that gets to me. It's the attitude. And I feel like there's an attitude there with Nicolas Pepe. And, you know, I think he's got the ability. I think he's technically got it. I think he's got the pace. He's got the trickery. I think he's got most things in his locker apart from that attitude. And, you know, the way he kind of, you know, when he's not in the side and then he does get opportunities and he kind of swans around the pitch as though he's not that interested. You can see the expression on his face. His body language is bad. You know, I want to see someone come in and have fire in him. Be like, I want to prove to Mikel Arteta that I deserve to play every week. I'm going to run my balls off. I'm going to close people. I'm going to be physical. I'm going to be aggressive, direct. And I don't see any of that from Nicolas Pepe. Look, at the end of the day, the price tag, though, that's not Nicolas Pepe's fault. That's what Arsenal were willing to pay for him. Rightly or wrongly, that is not Nicolas Pepe's fault. And I think we've got to stop bringing that up, if I'm honest, because it's, you know, you're going on about, we know that the club have been mismanaged for years and years and years. So to keep going back and making that point doesn't help anyone, doesn't help Nicolas Pepe. And I think it was Harry that mentioned it earlier on the show where he said, you just got to judge him on the performances. And, you know, whether Mikel Arteta brought them in, whether someone previously brought them in, it doesn't really matter. The team has to be picked on merit now. Do you feel, though, that the team is moving in the right direction again? We had obviously a really difficult period. Question marks over whether Mikel was going to continue in the role or should continue in the role. Do you feel now sort of back on board with Mikel?
How long's a piece of string, man? When I spoke to you in your last show, I said to you, like, when we had the last international break and we was going to play Leeds after that, I said to you, I said to many people, like, the way things are going, Mikel Arteta would be lucky to make it into the new year, and he's made it. In terms of like sort of the transfer window, with him, like, I don't see any major players coming in just because one, it's January. You can get deals done, but it's difficult. Even forget COVID is difficult anyway. But Harry, I'll kind of take it each game as it comes. I don't get carried away with the momentum of 4 wins and the spin, because a few weeks ago there's Arsenal fans in meltdown because Rob Holding had the captaincy against Everton. Like, you know, it can go from one extreme to the other. So the next 2 Premier League games are important, mate. I think out of a possible 6, I think we'll take 4 points, mate. Palace and Newcastle.
Yeah, 4 points. I'd be a little bit disappointed with 4 points.
Yeah, I would. But
I want all 6.
The Palace games, you know, the way they set up Harry, man, Hodgson and the counter attack. Yes, but the Newcastle game, I warn Arsenal fans now, that's not going to be a pleasant watch again, man. It's not.
It won't. We saw an example of what they're going to do yesterday.
Yeah,
sure
exactly
the same thing. Albert, mate, thank you so much for joining me, mate. Just quickly, how can people get over to your YouTube channel? And make sure you do subscribe to Albert's channel. Far away, mate.
Much love, Harry. Cheers, bro. No, Albert JTV, Twitter handle AUMO57. Hit the link in the bio and subscribe. Cheers, bro.
Make sure you do that. Albert, thank you so much, mate. All the best.
Nice, all the best, mate.
That was the brilliant Albert. Let's move on to our next caller, Liam. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner, mate. Where are you joining us from?
Hi, Harry. I'm joining from Colchester, mate. How you doing?
Not too far away. Not too far. All good, mate. All good, thank you. What do you want to say on the Arsenal, pal?
I was just going to pick up from what everyone's been talking about in regards to Willian and Pepe, really. I mean, with Willian, he is, correct me if I'm wrong, the only forward player in our squad, with the exception of Martelli, who's obviously been injured, to have not yet scored a goal. And he's made, I think, 18 appearances. And that's just not good enough for anybody, let alone somebody who's on, I think, £10 million a year. So over the course of these 3 years, he's going to end up costing us £30 million. which is just an exceptional amount of money.
Yeah, it is indeed. It is indeed. What do you make of Nicolas Pepe? He's another one that people have been debating tonight, wondering whether he'll actually ever, I'm not going to say prove his worth, because I think that transfer fee was crazy, and I don't think many players can prove that sort of value. But where do you stand on Nicolas Pepe? Have you been frustrated by his lack of development?
I mean, I think everybody's been frustrated with his performances as much as his development. I mean, the real issue with Pepe is, obviously, as everyone has pointed out, is price tag. You can't do anything about that, but at the same time, you've still got to perform. You've still got to have the right attitude. I think you picked up on his attitude a bit earlier. He does stroll about a bit too much for me, and he doesn't really come across as a sort of player who's going to pick up the slack and really perform. He's not got that attitude about him. I think that's the most frustrating thing. And when you've got players like Saka, who's he's a kid and he's performing so much better, you have to at least put that effort into to justify your selection in the team. I mean, if you don't do that, you shouldn't be picked. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, no, agreed, mate. A topic that we haven't really discussed tonight, but there are reports suggesting that this could be a possibility. I wanted to get your take on it, mate. The idea of Matteo Guendouzi coming back from his loan at Hertha Berlin. Bild, the German outlet, have been reporting that. What's your take on that? Do you feel like Mikel would backtrack on that after kind of casting him aside? I'm not so sure he would.
I mean, it's a hell of a backtrack. He was, let's be honest, he was kicked out. It wasn't like he was, he started for the last couple of seasons. He's really started and played a lot of games. But this season, obviously, he had that game against Brighton, it's last season, the end of last season. And since then, he's just been kicked out to Hertha. So it would be a hell of a backtrack. And if we're talking about players with attitude, he is probably the worst. So to bring him back, although he's a good player, I don't think he's good enough for you to have to then bring him back. I mean, he's not performed as well enough for Hertha for us to say, we're going to forget about your attitude. We're going to forget about, how you've performed against Brighton and just, bring him back. I just don't think he's got enough to justify doing that.
Yeah, agreed. We all agree that midfield has been an area in which we've had some issues this season. But with Thomas Partey hopefully close to fitness again, and we hope that he won't break down again, then there probably wouldn't be a place in the team.
No. I mean, if Partey and Xhaka were fit and playing, he wouldn't get in the team. So what's the point?
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Just finally, pal, just because I'm a bit short of time, we're supposed to do an hour, and we've still got lots of people waiting, and I'm not going to cut anybody off. Everybody that's got the link will be joining us tonight. We'll make sure of it, whatever time it goes on till. But what's your take on the outlook for the rest of the season? How are you feeling about it? Are you feeling a little bit more optimistic now that we've kind of picked up a few wins on the bounce, or are you still wary that this team could collapse again?
I mean, I predicted at the start of the season for us to finish 6th. And I didn't see anything so far this season which would suggest that we're going to do much better than that. I mean, the only course I think for, we could potentially finish higher is the fact that this season has been so unpredictable and so many teams have dropped as many points as they had. And there isn't really a team that has consistently played well enough that we don't even know yet who's going to win this league. It could well be Man City, could be Liverpool, could even be United. So, I mean, we don't know yet, but I don't suspect they'll finish much higher than 6th.
Good stuff, mate. Liam, thank you so much, mate. First time caller, I'm thinking.
Apologies, mate. I've got cut off.
That's right. Are you a first time caller?
I am a first time caller. I've commented a few times, and I'll say, as with everyone, I appreciate the amount of effort you've been putting in lately, and your videos have been really good, mate.
Really, really appreciate it, mate. Cheers for coming on, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon, mate. All the best.
Take care.
Cheers, pal. That's the brilliant Liam. Let's move on to our next caller. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Glenn Kitely, where are you joining from us, pal?
I'm joining you from Kenya. How are you? 2 weeks ago, I've been joining you from a mental hospital because of the amount of games we were losing. My head was going, and I was, come on, Harry, I was coming here to talk about the positive teen and all that, and then we started talking about Willian and Pepe, so we might as well just go to the negative stuff first. So,
mate,
for Willian and
if you want to talk positive, go ahead, mate. The forum is yours. You can say whatever you want.
Okay, let's just start with that because it's kind of annoyed me too. So for Willian and Pepe, I mean, there's like a month ago or something, people are talking about Pepe, start Pepe instead of Willian. But for me, I was like, these guys, for me right now, they're on the same level. They're both very frustrating players on the same level right now, unfortunately. And it's proven again. Like yesterday, how many times will Pepe have a shot off target? Seriously, on his stronger foot, how many times will he have a shot off target? Willian, yesterday, I didn't even understand why he moved to his left foot. He should have just taken it on his right foot or cut in or something. Very frustrating. And it's not just that. Pepe, the left side, cutting right, then dribbling again, then defenders are on corner. Then he takes the corner. Do you know how frustrating the corners from Pepe are and Willian? Very, very poor corners every single time. So for me, 2 weeks ago, I wanted them to play in the Man City game because I was like, since the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe have done well, I'm hoping these older players can notice and be like, you know what? These players are playing well. You also need to do the same. But it seems like they've not learned anything the last three weeks, unfortunately. So for me, they need to do a lot. Otherwise, I'm starting to lose confidence in them very, very much. And then I also wanted to touch on Smith Rowe a bit about yesterday's game. After he got that red card, Harry, all the depression started coming back again. I was like, the four reasons I was very, very worried. Number one, of course, we were going into extra time with 10 men. And we all know every time Arsenal gets a red card, apart from the Leeds game and maybe a QPR game some years ago and he had Rosicki, every time we get a red card, 8-2, the 6-0s, the 5-1s with Bayerns, that is after every time we get a red card, we fall apart. So I was very scared yesterday. And this is a competition I really love. I don't care whether what the opposition fans say. This is a competition I love. This is a competition that is close to our hearts. So I really wanted us to go forward. It's an embarrassment to go out in the first round. So I wanted us to go through. So after he got that red card, I was concerned that we'd go to extra time with 10 men. Number two, you could see how gutted he looked. He's been playing very well. And when a young player's been playing very well, and then he gets like a red card and then he has to miss like 3 or 4 games, it is very, very awful. So he needed to stay on the pitch and he won us the game. And then number three, the worst of them, or the worst of the lot, Harry. I started imagining Willian is actually going to play in the next 3-4 games. That is the worst part. I remembered Willian is going to replace him. And that was the worst part. That makes you sick. And then the last one was, I've seen how quickly people have turned on Aubameyang after a couple of poor performances.
Yeah.
So I was worried that people will turn on Smith Rowe too. I know maybe not, because when Pepe got the red card and the manager said whatever he said about him, and after Xhaka got the red card, people are like, why didn't you say this about Xhaka? You did this to Pepe, you'd have done the same to Xhaka. Maybe it would have been the same with Smith Rowe. People would have said he cost us the game, he's not ready yet, maybe you should have played this one. That's where Aubameyang needs to stick in the team. All that. That is why I was very, very worried. I don't know if you had to add a point before I got into my last point.
No, go ahead, mate. Go ahead. The forum's yours. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so again, I also had a caller saying Pepe needs 5 games. How many? I always hear Arsenal fans saying he's a confidence player. How many of these confidence players do we have? Pepe is a confidence player. Willian is a confidence player. Torreira was a confidence player. We can't have all these confidence players. Like you said to Albert in the last call, we need players to fight. Show me the fight. Play for your teammates. Play for the badge. Play for the fans. Play for your family at home. Make everyone happy. Don't confidence players every single time. That's what I always hear. Like Pepe needs 5 games for his confidence. Come on, man. Smith Rowe one month ago, he was playing in the under-23 scoring against Everton. And now he's in the first team doing his thing. I don't get this thing for confidence players. It really annoys me. It really, really annoys me.
Brilliant stuff, mate. Brilliant stuff. Just before I let you go, mate, thank you for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. Some really good points there as well. What time is it in Kenya at the moment?
Oh, it's 1:04 a.m. Just got done doing my content, so yeah, it's 1:04 a.m. after midnight.
1:04
Used to it though. It's used to it though because of content making. But yeah, shout out to you. Great work you've been doing, and I saw your video about membership and stuff. I really loved it. That is like the most truthful and passionate that kind of video I've ever seen. So, guys, if you're watching, go and become Harry's member. So, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate you coming on and you staying up so late to join us. Thank you, mate. All the best, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon, pal.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, man.
That was a brilliant call from Glenn in Kenya. Let's move on to JC. Thank you for joining me, mate, and thank you for being so patient. I know it's been a little bit of a wait. We're really, really busy tonight, mate. Thank you, though. And first of all, where are you joining us from?
I'm from Cardiff.
Cardiff, cool.
Cardiff, yeah.
How you doing, first of all?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. What do you want to say on the Arsenal, mate? What do you want to talk about? Any of the points that have already been raised? Have you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah,
yours.
Just watching yesterday's game, it felt a little bit like what I saw before Boxing Day against Chelsea. So, from what I'm seeing from the performances, it feels like when we got the youngsters on, like Saka, Smith Rowe, the team gels a lot better, especially with Lacazette as well. Just watching Willian, it's just so frustrating at the moment. He just looks really disinterested when I see him play. He doesn't really look like he looks like he doesn't really want to try. So, and it's just really frustrating having him there because I've just seen enough of him. And obviously, the last time he done something, I get an assist, was against Fulham opening day of the season. So in a way, it's the positives I can look at it is the fact that our youngsters are doing really well this season. But at the same time, it's a bit disappointing that our senior players aren't our senior players, they should be looking up to our senior players. But yeah, also I really like Pablo Mari as well. I think he was really good yesterday, and think ever since the Chelsea game, when obviously Gabriel had COVID, he wasn't able to play. I think he's done a really, really good job. And I was actually calling for him to start for a while now. I didn't really understand why he was playing in the Europa League games, but then he was being cut out in the Premier League. He wasn't on the sub at all, so that was a little bit strange for me. But yeah, there are a lot of there are positives, but what's come out of a difficult start to the season. But yeah.
Yeah, no, great points, mate. Great points. Would you like to see Murray maybe start alongside Gabriel? Is that something you'd consider moving forward? I know they're both left-footed, and
yeah.
What's your view on it?
I would like to see Gabriel and Murray next to each other just because of that communication, both from Brazil as well. So that would really help. And I'm not a massive fan of Rob Holding. He has put in some really good performances, but then he's been a bit too inconsistent. So it is a bit of a selection headache for Arteta. But obviously it is a good one to have, because Luis didn't do too bad yesterday, but obviously there is that report of him not having a good relationship with Arteta as well. So yeah, I definitely think Mari should keep his place in the starting 11, regardless of Gabriel coming back now. And then obviously we do have Partey coming back, so that's a really good positive. It does feel a little bit like a January signing to me, because he's only really played about 2.5 games since he's joined. So it will feel like a January signing, but it's a bit. I do want to see us obviously sign that number 10, because I do feel like if Emile Smith Rowe, as much as I've been really impressed with him, and obviously I want him to continue doing well, if he's not doing if he's not keeping up that consistency, then there might be a lot of fans putting a bit of pressure on him. But so I think there is someone that we do need to get, but obviously it's very hard. I heard about Buendia for 40 million. That's not something I feel that we should be, as much as we need one, I don't feel like he's worth that value of 40 million. I don't know what you think of that one.
Mate, it feels like too much for a player who had one season in the Premier League, is doing well in the Championship, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm going to be consistent with my view on this. I still feel like the price that it would take to get Emi Buendia away from Norwich is just over the top, and I wouldn't pay it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. If it was about 20 to 25 million, then maybe. But I'm obviously hearing that we could offer Nelson on as a swap or something. But we'll just have to see how that one goes. I could see that one maybe going towards the end of the window, but I do hope, obviously, what is encouraging to see, another positive that what's been quite of a bad start for us, is that we are seeing, of course, some outgoings as well, like Socrates, who's being rumoured to either go he's been rumoured to go to Genoa or Fenerbahce. We don't know where yet, but it's good to see the club are shifting out the players that are no longer part of Arteta's plans right now. Obviously, the Mesut Ozil news we've heard about, which is almost done and confirmed with Fenerbahce. So yeah, as much it's really good to see that we're focusing on the outgoings as well, because
trying.
yeah, of course, it's hard shifting out, and obviously there is talk about Guendouzi coming back. I'm not too sure really about that. Is his contract expiring at the end of this season?
End of next season. So when he returns, he'll have 1 season left, which puts us in a bit of a shit position, to be honest. JC, mate, thank you so much. I'm just going to have to move it on, pal, just because I've got people. But really appreciate you coming on, and hope to speak to you again soon, mate.
Cheers. Take care. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks. All the best, mate. Cheers. Another brilliant call. Welcome to the show, Harv. How you doing, mate? Thanks for waiting patiently.
No problem, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. All good. Yeah, can't complain. But Arsenal are on a good run at the moment, so we'll take it, won't we? What do you want to say? First of all, sorry, I should have asked. Where are you joining us from, pal?
Birmingham again, mate.
Birmingham, not too far, then. Not too far. Just a couple of hours. What do you want to say on the Arsenal, mate?
Basically, considering we're on a good run, not a lot of the calls have been that positive.
Though, Harv, I've got to put my hands up to this. This is probably my fault because I titled the podcast, about Willian and about Pepe, and I kind of went for that kind of angle. So I've got to take a bit of the blame for that, I've got to say. But you're right. There's been a lot of bashing of both of those players so far.
Yeah, well, just to lighten the mood for everyone, we're having one of our worst starts to the season ever. Spurs are currently title contenders in one of their best seasons ever, and we're 6 points off them. So, we can make top 4, especially this kind of season. But yeah, listening to everyone on the Pepe and everything like that, I think Pepe, unreal player. The talent's obviously there. He needs, I know everyone has kept saying he needs a run of games, but he really is a player that needs a run of games, that needs to settle in. And I think it might be a problem with his attitude, but he's got that kind of character that he just looks like. Give him a good, 5+ games, which he hasn't had yet, to kind of, gel into the team a bit more.
Yeah, do you feel like someone that needs an arm around him, and Mikel Arteta's trying to be this disciplinarian and maybe doesn't want to do that, whereas perhaps, and I'm not saying that we should get him back or anything before someone starts in the comments, but do you feel like somebody like Arsene Wenger maybe, who was a little bit better at putting his arm around people, obviously vastly more experienced, but somebody like Arsene Wenger maybe would have got more out of Nicolas Pepe because he would have understood the player's needs kind of emotionally?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Pepe is a Wenger player. He'd 100% be better. But like I say, give him a good run of games. Willian, he should have been a backup from the start. Put Pepe in that position, have Willian as his backup, and go with. I mean, if we're not going to sign anyone, I don't agree with going for Buendia because, like you, the money to get him is ridiculous. I'd rather just go for someone top class in the summer. Play Saka behind the number 10 if we're not going to get anyone in. But yeah, I think Pepe, just give him a good few games.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. Where do you stand on the Willian one, seeing as he's been a hot topic tonight as well?
Like you, man, I'm not going to lie. I was happy with it, only on the basis that he's a backup. I'm a bit bored of getting these Chelsea retirement players in. Czech, David Luiz, Willian. I mean, I know David Luiz has put in some good performances, but has he ever been one of the standout players at our club? I wouldn't say so. I'm a bit bored of getting these Chelsea retirement players in, but at the time I was happy because I thought we'd be bringing him off the bench. That's all he should be. He's coming to the end of his career, bench player. Bit of guidance as well.
We were all delighted as well when he turned in that performance on the first day of the season as well. So it'd be a little bit harsh for us all to, say that, the club, well, you can say the club made a mistake. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but many of us were quite pleased with the signing at the time. So it would, I'd be a flip-flop now if I sat there and said, no, the club made a disastrous decision, because we all thought that it would be a good one. Harv, thank you so much, mate, for joining me. I'm going to have to leave it there just because I've got a few more callers to get to, and we're already well past the hour mark, mate. But thank you for your contribution as always.
No worries, mate. You have a good one. 6 points, and we'll get there.
That's it, mate. Cheers. Thank you. All the best, pal. That was Harv. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner Tea Talks. How you doing, pal?
Hi, I'm all right, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Feeling good after another victory. And of course, you know, it might not have been pretty, but we've progressed in our competition, as I like to call it.
Exactly.
What do you want to say on the Arsenal, mate?
I think just quickly about the Willian and Pepe situation. I think everyone has chipped in and everyone's put really good points. And I do agree with a lot of people in terms of it's really difficult with Willian and Pepe when they're seeing players like Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe coming in and overtaking them and taking their spot. But what I really want to talk about is those young players, and in particular Nelson, Willock, and Nketiah. I've come here just to give them a little bit of a defence, really, in terms of. Let me start with Willock. I'm not too sure. When I first saw him, I think it was against Blackpool in the FA Cup. Do you remember that game?
Yeah.
I think he scored, actually. That was the first game. But in terms of his whole play, I didn't really see what he would bring to the first team from then. But he's gone on and he's done okay in the Europa League and in those other competitions and in the FA Cup against lesser sides. But in terms of, and I'm not really sure if he's, first team quality, to be honest. But with Nelson and Nketiah, I've heard a lot of Arsenal fans over the past few days and weeks give Nketiah a lot of slack, as recently as Balogun, as everyone's been saying, let's get Balogun instead of Nketiah, let's sell Nketiah. But when he has played, when he has started, whether it's in less competitions, he has performed, and I do feel like he has scored goals. And the type of player he is, he's a fox in a box type of striker, which is, I feel Aubameyang's that same sort of player. Minimal touches, but high quality in front of goal. I'm not saying that he's on the level of Aubameyang at all, but that's the type of player he is.
Yeah, what you mean?
Yeah. And also, because of the players like Emile Smith-Rowe, Martinelli and Saka, I feel like it's been at their detriment how good they have been. The mentality, and not just the mentality, but the understanding of football to play for a club like Arsenal at that elite level has been to their detriment. Because I'm all for having these young players. Not every young player is going to break in and be a first-team star. We need rotational players as well. And I'd be much rather having Nketiah, Willock and Nelson as rotational players on lower wages than somebody on less wages than someone like a Pepe and Willian, who will prevent us from making the signings that we actually need, in my opinion.
No, that really good points, mate. Really good points. Are you feeling optimistic then as well? Because for all the negative talk there's been tonight about Willian and Pepe, most people, when I've asked them that question, have turned around and said, actually, though, we feel like we're back on the right track. We went for a really difficult period, the most difficult that I can ever probably remember seeing Arsenal go through, in my lifetime anyway, in my time supporting the club. It does feel like we've turned a bit of a corner now. It does feel like we've got almost like some new signings by bringing in these youngsters who, of course, were injured. And I'm talking about Smith-Rowe and Martinelli in particular. He might be out again, Martinelli. But it does feel like a little bit of an injection, a much-needed injection. And now are you sort of more optimistic about Arsenal, if not finishing in the top four, at least pushing for it?
Yeah, definitely. At the start of the season, many Arsenal fans' first thought was, we're going to finish in the top four. With this manager that we've got, he just won the FA Cup. And we've gone through that difficult period. And, the young team that we have, let's not forget, Mikel Arteta is a very young manager. No experience of managing at this level, at any level, apart from, being an assistant, which is a different role under Pep Guardiola. He learned a lot. And so I do really think that we can kick on, and that difficult period that we went through is a learning curve, not just for our players, but our manager as well. Exactly. And that's where it's going to be massive for him. And that's every manager, every successful manager has gone through a difficult period. Everybody likes to do this, and as Arsenal fans like to be optimistic and compare him to Klopp. Remember, what was Klopp's time at Dortmund? How did that finish? I'm sure Jurgen Klopp learned a lot from that. See, so I am optimistic. I do feel like we have the quality in our youth, and we're starting to build that spine now with Partey coming back, Gabriel, Leno, a solid goalkeeper, Aubameyang and Lacazette. Let's just hope now that we are beginning to get rid of the deadwood, which is very difficult to get rid of, by the way, with the wages that they're on. Let's just hope we can build those pieces, and our manager can develop as well, and these young players can develop too. And
for sure,
so,
mate. For sure, mate. Thank you so much for joining me, mate. Just got to move it on, just conscious of time.
Brilliant.
Where are you joining us from, by the way?
Nice, sunny and bright Wolverhampton, so not that far either.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Sure, we'll speak soon.
See you later. Bye.
Cheers, pal. Brilliant. Let's bring on our next caller. Is it Ali? Have I said that right?
Yes, Harry. How are you doing today, my friend?
Ali, I'm good, mate. How are you? Where are you joining us from?
Not too bad. It's actually not as dark as you would think. It's only Toronto.
Only Toronto. The light's gone out, mate.
Yeah, no, I mean, we listen to Chronicles of a Gooner even during power naps.
Brilliant. Thank you, mate. What do you want to say on the Arsenal, man?
I actually wanted to take a little bit of a different perspective. I actually agree with everybody. It is slightly negative, and probably because of the title. But looking at it from a form perspective, listen, I mean, in the past 5 games, we've gotten 10 points. And when I compare that to everybody else in the league, Arsenal is actually sitting 4th. So that's not that bad. And I think this season, more than probably any other season, is about form because of the time restraints, the lack of the preseason and how quickly the games are happening back to back. So if this team is picking up so many points in such a short space, they have to maximize it within the next 2 weeks as well. And I think they're very capable of doing that against Palace and Newcastle.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. And it's a real opportunity for Arsenal now, isn't it, to pick up another 6 points, continue on the march towards that sort of European promised land, and really get a bit of momentum, because obviously after that we've got Manchester United to come, which is no doubt going to be a difficult game. Are you optimistic about Arsenal sort of achieving their goals come the end of the season? I mean, I was quite realistic in my prediction, I feel, at the beginning of the campaign when I said I didn't think Arsenal were going to make the top 4. But what I wanted to see was progress. I wanted to see Arsenal closer to that top 4. What is first of all, what would be your objective? And secondly, do you think we can achieve it?
I mean, realistically, I don't think we'll finish top 4 this season. I was like you too. I try to be a little bit of a pessimist when it comes down to the Arsenal. But I've always thought about this manager since he came back last December as a cup guy. He's a cup tie manager. Maybe he'll be good in a league within a couple of seasons if he gets the time. But I think despite the Man City performance that he had in the League Cup, he seems to be very well in those tournaments. And listen, so far, he's won us an FA Cup. And for me, I'll be more than happy if he happens to win another major trophy. And if it's a Europa League, then listen, we just checked off the biggest task that we wanted anybody do within the past 2-3 years, I would say.
Yeah, for sure, mate, for sure. Ali, thank you so much for joining me, mate, and thank you for waiting really patiently. I've just got to get through a couple more calls before we lock off, so apologies that it's a little bit short, but I promise I'll get you on earlier next time, and we'll get some more of your opinions. But thank you so much for your support, mate.
No worries, buddy. Have a good one. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. You too, mate. All the best. That was Ali joining us from Toronto. Let's go to our next caller. Just a quick one. If you're still looking to come on to the show, we're going to close the lines now because we've still got a couple of people waiting. And of course, we're running out of time. So my apologies. But if you do still drop me a DM now, then I'll have your details for the next one and I'll be able to get you on early doors on the next show. And that way you'll definitely get your opportunity to have your say. Let's move on to our next caller. Wasiu, how you doing, mate? Long time no speak. I can't hear you, Wasiu. It's not coming through, mate. There it is.
Yeah, I had to mute it. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, man. Remind the listeners, where are you joining us from?
Oh, from Chicago. Illinois. Yeah.
Go ahead, mate. What do you want to say on the topics we've been discussing?
Yeah, I've been listening to everyone. There's a lot of stuff going on. And those opinions, I pretty much like it. Relating to the kids, because I still call them kids. They might be playing really well. I think you had that conversation one time relating to knowing that there's some of the kids coming out from the academy. They're not going to make it as a first team player, and over time there might be rotational players that you could put in when some other players are not playing, but some probably we're gonna have to know with time. We're gonna have to probably get good money from them. So right now there's a lot coming on, and I know from Smith Rowe to Saka, Willock, Nelson, Eddie. It's not everybody that's gonna okay, I'm gonna just for instance look at what's his name, the one that went to Everton. It will be. So I think we're on the right path. I think I'm not sure we're gonna get the fourth position. That one has just been realistic. We might try get there. But with the way everything is going, Delta, it needs probably two more windows, like windows, like summer windows, not January windows.
January ones, agreed.
Yeah, for him to get to that stage we want. Only we have to be patient, and I know some fans are gonna say probably he's not the right man for the job, but Wenger came from probably Japanese club, and they were patient with him and pretty much had experience. He was a coach in France before coming, but I know Arteta is gonna get us to where we want to be. Because from the tactics, sometimes you make mistakes, which is the team put on sometimes, but you could see a glimpse of okay, this is the way we want to play. That's what we're used to. That's the Arsenal way of playing. So it's gonna get there, but for this year, for this season, not sure about that.
We'll have to wait and see, mate. We'll have to wait and see. Wasu, thank you so much for joining me, mate. I've got to leave it there. Just we're well over time, but thank you so much.
I understand. Thank you for having me.
No worries, pal. I'm sure we're going to speak soon. Cheers.
No problem. Easy, man. Bye.
That was the brilliant Wasu joining us from Chicago, Illinois. We did have another caller in the dashboard ready for me to bring onto the show, but they've just dropped out. Not sure why, but anyway. I want to just say a massive thank you to all of you guys who have been joining us in the chat this evening as well. I want you to spam the chat box now. Let us know where it is that you are currently joining us from. As you've seen throughout the show, we've got callers from all over the world getting involved in our live phone-in show, which is fantastic. Love to see people joining from all over the world. So spam the chat. Let me know where you're listening from, and I'll give you a shout out before we lock off. A couple of bits of housekeeping before we go. I want to say thank you to everybody that tuned into the watch along of the Newcastle United game yesterday. We had around about 4,000 views on that, so a big thank you. We don't do them very often. Considering doing one against for the game against Crystal Palace. Let me know if you're interested in it, and if you are, then we'll get it done. So keep us posted on that. Just a quick reminder, as you'll see in the live chat box, if you're watching us, there are a lot of people with the little Chronicles of a Gooner logo next to their name when they comment. That's because they are members of the YouTube channel. If you feel like you want to support the podcast, if you feel like you want to receive the benefits that come with a Chronicles of a Gooner membership, then click the link in the description for more information on what it's all about. And then if you wish to sign up, you can do so from there. There's a video on the channel. It's called the Chronicles of a Gooner membership scheme. Check that video out. In that video, I explain exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how your support will help. So check that out if you haven't already. And feel free to become a member. But I have to stress the point again. It's not compulsory. There's not going to be a cut down in the content that we're putting out for free. You're still going to get the same level of content. But if you do become a member, you will get extra. There will be more. So brilliant. It will be brilliant if you join us. If not, though, no hard feelings. And I also understand this is a really, really difficult time in the world right now. So, as I said, no hard feelings whatsoever if it's not something you can do at the moment. But I want to put on record as well my thanks to those guys who have signed up already, because there's been quite a few, a lot more actually than I thought. So thank you very, very much. Right, let's go over to the live chat. Big shout out to Billy Anderson, joining us from Bournemouth. Topher joins us from DC. The Mongoose is in Brisbane, Australia. Glenn joins us from Kenya. Luke is in Rochester, Kent. Omar is in Jamaica. Charles is in Bulgaria. Billy is in Newmarket. Eugene joins us from Northolt. T says, thank you for the show, Harry. Thank you guys for joining me. It's my pleasure. Usman joins us from the Gambia. Patrick's in South Africa. Faisal's in Manchester. Winter's Wrath is in Hackney, North London. We've got John in Edmonton, Canada. We've got T in Larnaca, Cyprus. Riddy joins us from Canterbury. Boyce is in Ireland. We've got Kevin in Hounslow. What else have we got? We've got loads of places. Roberto's in Iceland. We've got South East London. Fantastic stuff. Mohammed says he was in the waiting room, but there was a bad connection. Apologies, mate. I didn't obviously see it. Well, the call's not there now, so you must have jumped out. But be sure to message me next time, and I'll get you back on. Guys, if you do want to take part in these phone-in shows, the earlier you DM me, the better, because we've obviously got an allotted amount of time, and that way it's first come, first served, and we will hopefully get through as many as you can. And I'll always do my best, like tonight, to make sure that we got through all of the calls. But there will be occasions where there are going to be too many people and we're not going to get through to everyone. So it is a first come, first served basis. So get involved early doors. As soon as you see that tweet going out announcing the fans phone-in show, which is going to be weekly now, by the way, then get involved. DM us at Chronicles_AFC. Just before I go, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be bringing you another 2 live streams tomorrow, so turn the notifications on. Hope to see most of you there. And until then, take care. Have a good night. All the best.
You're listening to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast.
I'm Martin Tyler, and you're listening to Harry Symeou.